We are continuing our Road to Rank 10 series here on the channel, and in this set of videos we are going to be testing out Escavalier in the back, subbing in for Licky Licky. The reason that I made this swap on the team was because I was seeing an influx of Galarian Pokemon, specifically Obstagoon, in the Ultra League meta. If you are not familiar with how the Galarian Pokemon are faring in the Pokemon Go meta, I will put a link up to a video where we covered that specifically here on the channel. But for here and now, let's see how Escavalier fares in this set of 5 battles. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, trainers. My name is Oro Chris. I am your catching coach. And our first battle in this set of 5 matches, we have Anis 8845 as the opponent. And at this point, these videos were from a day or two ago. I was still running Cresselia in the lead. I have since transitioned with Escavalier as the lead. The reason being, a lot of folks are running Obstagoon in the lead position. And with that dark typing hitting super effective into Pokemon like Cresselia, it made sense to have a stronger Obstagoon counter in that front spot. Moreover, having Cresselia in the back, that does give me a potential opportunity to test a different strategy as far as a safe swap goes. Cresselia being both a good lead as well as a good safe swap in the Ultra League. So here, the two of us, we are going to be just moonblasting each other back and forth. The reason being, Future Sight is resisted as a psychic type, so for most of us, the more reasonable attack is going to be the fairy type of Moonblast. We get down to the near end. I don't recall at this point, you may have noticed I did not, as I was commenting about Obstagoon, whether or not we were debuffing each other. It looks like my IVs are a little bit stronger than the opponent's, so I'm going to shield up here to maintain the switch advantage, and this should be enough to take the opponent out. So now we have got Swampert coming in, hoping to get off this Moonblast and praying for the debuff. Again, Moonblast recently buffed in the about a month or two ago's announcement. It now has a 30% chance to debuff the opponent, debuff their attack stat by, I believe, 2 stages. I could be wrong, but it might just be 1 stage. But for sure, it is a 30% chance. So we're going to bring in Escavalier. Escavalier does have a favorable matchup against Swampert if it can land the shield bait on a drill run and then hit with the Mega Horn. Here, I am coming close enough, want to maintain that switch advantage. We're going to swap in with our Swampert, take this Hydro Cannon, and they're going to bring in the shiny Granbull. Very, very impressive Pokemon in the Ultra League. Charm going to be just chunking away, even against a neutral matchup. We are both down shields at this point. And now I'm going to hope to get off this drill run before the opponent can get off crunch or close combat. I am sadly unsuccessful. So we do go down that first match. Tough loss. Granbull, a very strong option in the Ultra League, having access to both close combat and crunch, can hit for super effective damage against Giratina, Cresselia, and Registeel. So definitely a strong option if you have the candies. Most IV spreads need to be maxed out or very close to level 40 to maximize that Pokemon. So here we've got the Giratina, going to be just launching as many Moonblasts as possible, getting to those hoping for an attack debuff. Definitely going to help our chances against a Pokemon that can hit for super effective damage like Giratina. And I find that Fairy, even though it has a very similar charge move animation to the psychic type animation, much easier to hit. I have a very tough time hitting the psychic type animation. Maybe in this set of videos you'll see what my strategy is. I try to do mini circles around the circle rather than try to follow the the bubbles as they're released. So hoping to get off this Moonblast, we are successful in doing so. And going to get that KO against the Giratina. But immediately a purified, no less, purified Swampert going to come in. And a very spicy pick for the Ultra League. Heatran typically has some anti-meta play in the Ultra League, but this is the first, at most the third Heatran that I've seen in the Ultra League, because it is a little bit heavier attack weighted, just does not have, and especially because of its resisted attacks into Giratina, a dragon type, going to be resisting those fire type attacks, as well as the prevalence of Swampert hitting both with water and ground type attacks. Not the best situated in the Ultra League meta. So there we're able to pull out the win against the opponent. Heatran against the Swampert was just not going to be very much luck for the opponent. So here we're going to get a very, very favorable lead. Poliwrath into Cresselia, and they're going to try to farm up to a charge move and then swap out, and then they bring in Registeel, and I've got the perfect counter for that. Escavalier, very strongly situated in the Ultra League meta. One of the top counters against a Pokemon like Registeel, and with that buff to Drill Run, able to get to that charge move a little bit more quickly. It now does not have the risk of getting beaten out in terms of those charge moves for the knockout against Registeel. So here we're going to farm down, and the opponent's going to bring in their Poliwrath. Now, probably I am low enough health that an Ice Punch would KO, so they're not going to invest too much energy into that, and I'm going to bring back in the Cresselia. Launch immediately the Moonblast, hoping to at least draw their shield, and then rather than swap out, this is my best option as far as a counter against Giratina. Going to launch off the Moonblast. Going to be hitting for super effective, and we're also up a shield, so we're in a very strong position in this battle. Shadow Sneak, again, the preferred move on Giratina in the Ultra League now with the nerf to Ancient Power. You're much better off, especially with the prevalence of Cresselia in the Ultra League, you're much better off running Shadow Sneak as opposed to Ancient Power. I guess Charizard is as prevalent as some other Pokemon now in Ultra League. Articuno might prefer to, or might not prefer to see an Ancient Power, but for the most part, Shadow Sneak's just going to be a better overall attack in most situations when Dragon Claw is not resisted. The other benefit to that, of course, is that Registeel resists both Dragon Claw and Ancient Power. With Shadow Sneak, now you've got a super effective, or at least a neutral hit into Registeel. So now we are 2 wins up in this set of 3, hoping for continued success. We've got the opponent bringing in the Shiny Lapras. I think Shiny Lapras is one of the best looking designed shinies. So there you can see my strategy. I try to do the mini circles around rather than try to do follow the bubble, you know, in a circle all its own. I do like little miniature moon orbits around it. Try that. I was watching a stream King IV was having, doing some coaching on a stream, and the trainer that he was coaching was having a very hard time with psychic type charge moves. So give that a try if that's one of the charge moves that you're having some challenges with. So here with the super thickness of Cresselia, going to be able to get off that win against Lapras. The opponents goes down, and now we have got Venusaur, hoping to get to charge move. Questionable if I wanted to trade a shield for their shield, because a future sight, if they didn't shield it, was going to be a absolute knockout against Venusaur. But because Escavalier is a bug steel type Pokemon, doubly resisting grass type attacks, and as a steel type, doubly resisting poison type attacks, it has in essence immunity tier resistance to everything that Venusaur is going to be throwing at it. Even though counter, its fast move is going to be resisted because of Venusaur's poison typing, I'm in a much more favorable matchup as a result. And then Megahorn, going to be absolutely slaying if that goes through. Drill Run, because of the poison subtyping, grass resists ground type attacks, poison takes super effective from ground type attacks, so that at least would be a solid neutral hit. So ultimately I would be up in that scenario. So here we've got the shiny. This person loves the shinies. Compliments to the opponent here, going with the full shiny squad. I've got each of these shinies, but they do not have the IVs to warrant the investment. So I hope that the trainer elected to go with both a good IV spread and not just the style over substance. Me personally, I'm going to pick IVs virtually every time, but that's just me. If you feel differently, no offense to you. We all play. It's a game. We all play this the way that is most enjoyable to each of us. So here we have got trying feverishly to get down to that Mega Horn. Even a Drill Run at this range is going to be sufficient to get the knockout against this Cresselia, and that is going to be GG. Even if it hadn't been the knockout, we do have the time up, and because in the time up scenario, if you're not familiar, it goes first by who has the most Pokemon left surviving. If you have the same amount of Pokemon, I've got one Pokemon, you have one Pokemon, then it defaults to the HP. Whoever has the most HP remaining, they win the time up decision. So here, Cresselia going up against Escavalier. Mega Horn, I was hoping it was a bait with a Drill Run. Absolute powerhouse of a hit. Everything going to be resisted. Probably a misplay on my part there. I probably should not have launched that Future Sight. Should have just charged up to a charge attack and then swap out as quickly as possible. He is staying in, however, which makes me question the Pokemon in the back. Here, as a water type, Lapras is going to be resisting Hydro Cannon, so we're going to go straight Earthquake, try to get that at least neutral hit in. But because of my ground subtyping with the water typing, I'm going to be taking at least neutral damage from Surf, as well as from Ice type attacks like Ice Beam and Ice Shard. So Lapras definitely in a winning position, but if you don't shield, as the opponent didn't, we're able to get off a couple of Earthquakes and get the knockout. And then here, trying desperately to get to that Hydro Cannon, Lucario. Definitely better situated in the Ultra League meta 2, 3, 4 months ago, before Power Up Punch was nerfed. Now not nearly as strong in PvP, but still a nice option. Does have access to Shadow Ball, so it can hit super effective against the Ghost type Pokemon that we see in Ultra League very often. And then finally, we've got the opponent's Escavalier. So they're running a double fighting type strategy, kind of an interesting decision. They must really hate Registeel. That is one thing that we can guess based upon that team composition. I'm not sure Lucario, even with a Power Up Punch behind it, and Shadow Ball would be enough to take out a Giratina. So that is definitely going to be a tough circumstance. I guess with access to Lapras on your team, you're going to be able to pull out a Giratina counter in that regard. So they're going 4-1 in that set and pulling out a decent amount of rating. I think I gained about 30 points as a result of that set of battles. So definitely happy with that result. Currently at 2340. And again, these battles were from the weekend. We're playing catch up as far as editing is going here on the channel. But I hope that you have found the Ultra League as nice of a change of pace from the Great League as I have. In Season 1, I had a tough go of it in Ultra League. I think I dropped about 300 rating, but definitely finding a lot more success here in the Ultra League this go round, so that is definitely reassuring. If you are interested in Pokemon Go, competitive PvP, and basically anything Pokemon related, consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, happy catching!